Given that this is a fairly recent fund, just talk to me a little bit about what the performance has been like and the focus over the past year.
Sure. The performance has been fantastic year to date. We launched towards the end of last year, and I think everyone in the markets knows that Q4 was quite a tricky quarter, particularly for growth areas. So we had a challenging start, but we've more than recovered. So it's really exciting to see the companies doing well.
Yeah, and the goals that you're sort of focusing on, I mean, themes, I should say, it covers basic needs, health and well-being, inclusive and fair economies, healthy ecosystems, climate stability, sustainable communities. There's a lot of different themes here. Just talk to me a bit about the role that impact investing in general, though, before we get into the detail, has on listed equities.
Well, it's a really great question. Listed equity is not the origins of impact investing. Impact investing was born out of more of the philanthropical or private debt space, and so it's moved a lot over the last few years and has now begun a real presence in listed equities. And I think that's really exciting for a couple of reasons. Listed equities have such scale, and it's really possible as a fund manager with an impact focus in this listed space to engage with companies that are really big and changing. They have a real potential to change things on a huge scale. So that's really exciting. And also it's the accessibility of listed equities. Impact investing is fantastic. Whichever type of asset class you pick, I think it's really brilliant to be able to match your financial and your ethical goals. But for most retail customers, until quite recently, impact investing hasn't been particularly accessible. It now can be with listed equities.
Yeah, that's really interesting, that shift towards listed equities. But for somebody sort of sitting there and not quite understanding exactly how you approach this, take us through it sort of versus the specific example. I mean, let's pick one of your themes, like sustainable communities, for example. When we start talking about this circular economy, how do you take that theme and translate it into picking specific stocks?
Sure. Sustainable communities is a really interesting theme. It has lots of sort of sub-themes, and the circular economy exactly is one of those. And when we try and find stocks to populate that theme, we're looking at the world from the perspective of the UN SDGs and what areas are blocking those and preventing them from being achieved, and what type of companies might be helping to fix those problems or to solve those goals. So we see it as blockers and fixers. And so the blockers to a circular economy are this reliance that we all have really on single-use plastic still, the use of virgin fossil fuel, etc. And the fixers are companies with the real innovation to help shift us from this linear economy. I think we are still very much in we take things, we take stuff out of the ground, we make things with it, and then we throw it away. And we have to close that loop. It's a really depressing stat that less than 10% of the world economy is circular at the moment. But the exciting thing about that is there is a lot to go for.
Yeah, there's growth potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And these companies are growing through their credentials of helping to fix big problems. So, for example, companies that provide really innovative recycling solutions, companies that recycle particularly toxic substances which otherwise would go into landfill, steel dust, for example, and also companies which use recycled packaging and close that loop. We have lots of exciting examples.
Can you give an example of one or two?
Sure. There's an Italian business. It makes nylon fibre for clothes. Nylon fibre is not something that you would typically associate with sustainability, but they have a patented process which enables them to make this fibre from waste material. Some of that is ghost fishing nets from the ocean, recovered from the ocean, which we know is a huge problem, and also recycled commercial carpet from commercial buildings. So they're taking waste and they're making clothing fibre from it, and this fibre in itself can be recycled an infinite number of times. So that's really fascinating to watch that business develop.